What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Part 2 of our video, the Laughing Z. He's the one who requested this video, so everybody just know that if anything goes down, he's the guy that said to do it. Now, this is a second part of pretty much examining a critique that was given on Gotham Knights by a YouTuber named White Light. I have no ill will against anyone. There's going to be a little push and pull here. It's not necessarily to throw shade. I'm just pointing out things that I felt are actually missed points that could have been either discussed or better fleshed out to explain the combat system, rather than go ahead and judge the combat system as mid when this YouTuber clearly did not explore the combat very well. Also, one thing that must be said is I'm making these videos because I want to gatekeep. I do not want people who are not necessarily fans to come in here and pollute things, because by and large, not all fans should like this game. I'm not saying that. There are people, however, who could like this game could serve them, that have probably been told wrong because they watched reviewers and they watched people with different opinions. And to be honest, a lot of these people are not fans like we are in our community. So this is me and my attempt to pretty much go ahead and try to find out how we're going to be having these discussions in a much more pure sense. I'll let this video play so that you can see for yourself what I mean where I'm telling you that this is such a very critical and important thing. So let me shut up my mouth and go ahead and watch the video.
Some enemies have states of immunity in Gotham Knights. Corrupt cops and shielded roadhogs, for instance, can both raise their guard. You can wait this out, you can aim your weapon above the shield, you can use the environment, or you can break the guard with a heavy attack. Fair enough. It effectively encourages a change in tactics. The trouble is that sometimes they can enter this state of immunity without the guard animation. A corrupt cop might be aiming his weapon and be in his guard state at the same time. You waste an ability. You call bullshit. No telegraph, no fair. Without the guard animation, without the guard animation, without the guard animation. You call bullshit. No telegraph, no fair.
So I wanted to put a little bit of context surrounding this from the developer side. As a rule of thumb, whenever you're developing abilities, whether it's for enemies or for the player, animations are necessary. I don't know how maybe this YouTuber did not see the guard animations, and I think he probably thinks that the animation is a state in itself that the enemy NPC assumes while doing other things. I don't think they necessarily understand what they are implying. Let's look at some, NPC stuff. This is one of the projects I worked on a year ago. It's just a prototype. I was learning stuff here, and I'll show you the behavior tree of this enemy NPC. We're going to take a look at, how the behavior tree fires and what the enemy NPC is doing at a given time, because it's actually not as complex, or can be as complex as the developer wants it to be. So I'll go ahead and fire up the project, and then you guys will be able to see the enemy's behavior tree as, the enemy NPC is roaming around looking for me. So right now the enemy NPC is looking for me around this map, and you notice that there's a set of instructions that's highlighted in a, thicker white line and yellow on the left side. When the enemy NPC is roaming and they see me, it's going to update, and the enemy NPC is going to be asking questions. And right now, even their task of looking for me, you have to use animations to kind of tie it up, because there's room for you to do that. So there's a walk animation or jog animation the enemy is doing right now. When the enemy sees me, the enemy is going to move to me, and that movement is going to increase the speed of the enemy. It's going to update. Let me see if they can see me now. Okay, now they've seen me. So it's going to increase the speed. Basically, you have to control the animation and so on and so forth. When it gets close to me, it attacks. So these are things that when you're programming all of these different aspects of the game, animations are necessary for you to be able to make for these systems look believable. And many people don't necessarily know that that's sometimes, depending on how you build your game, a gameplay ability system, if you use something like that, actually has a slot for you to ensure that you put an animation. And if you don't put an animation while designing it, the game is probably going to, call you to attention and say, hey, you don't necessarily have an animation for this character as this character is doing this. Like here, I have an animation montage set up here for my character to be able to get the job done based on some variables and, some functions that I'm supposed to have set up and so on and so forth. So these are things that you as the, developer must make sure it is in your game. So it's not necessarily a state. It's just the enemy NPC asking questions. And now the enemy NPC is also asking the question of what is the player doing? Is the player trying to hit me? So you can go ahead and program a few tasks that continues to check the actions of the player. So is the player fighting another character? Is the player like standing there? Or is it, the turn of you, the enemy NPC, to attack? Or is there another enemy NPC attacking? So we don't have two talons trying to attack you at the same time, or three. Sometimes the, big, huge talons, gladiator talons don't care. They just keep coming after you, but that's how they're programmed. They have to ask the questions first. So when the enemy NPCs goes into a guard state or they start to dodge, they are wondering if you're trying to hit them. Some of the freaks and some of the mob or some of the more experienced drone operators would dodge a bunch of your attacks in flurries if you try to keep hitting them. So what they're doing is they're constantly asking this question, and then when they realize that the enemy is actually trying to hit you, they dodge. Some games, like, they've said maybe the Dark Souls games, would do it in a sense like an input sensing. So is the player pressing this button? But in an Unreal Engine sense, you have to also think about proximity as well. Because if you're pressing the button for a mob of enemy NPCs, it could mean you're fighting another NPC down there. So the AI will be checking and saying, are you close to me? If you're close to me, are you trying to hit me? In a sense. Whereas in this case, the enemy AI is asking, am I close to the player? And if I'm close, I need to hit him. So that is, in my opinion, something that I don't think the YouTuber paid attention to, which is very important in a game design perspective that you must kind of do. If you go in and you start looking at all your code, you're going to realize that there are so many things that you have to pay very close attention to. If you don't have your animation set up, then you're pretty much playing with fire, because it's not going to be a believable game for the most part. So I hope this provides a little bit of context and you guys are able to, go ahead and kind of see that sometimes it's okay to be able to kind of like assume these little things, but for the most part, you really have to pay very close attention as to how these things work, because it's not necessarily the simplest thing in regard to how you or, you perceive a game versus how it's made, and so on and so forth. But that's all I wanted to say. Peace.
Now, talons have a unique guard state. Theirs can only be broken with a charged range attack. Theirs can only be broken with a charged range attack. Theirs can only be broken with a charged range attack. Theirs can only be broken with a charged range attack. And frankly, I don't even know where to begin with the fuckery. For one, the charged range attack is not reliable. Sometimes the talon simply ignores it. Sometimes it targets the wrong enemy, or nothing. And you have to dodge both their cock-gobbling attacks once again.
What?
But the big problem is that with the exception of Red Hood's barrage, the charged ranged attack is pretty much the only thing you can do. The idea with immunity states like this isn't that you do one specific thing in response, it's that you do something differently. You change your tactics.
Great.
With the guard break, there are multiple viable responses. With Arkham's most restrictive enemy, the shield bearer, you could aerial attack, or blow him up, or freeze him, or electrocute him. Most importantly, when the shield was dropped, you could work to ensure it was never picked up again. With the Talon, you charged ranged attack. And consider that the Talon's health bar is likely to be long enough to force this dance multiple times. It is the worst enemy I've faced in this type of game for a long while, because fighting them is always boring, and they're not the last of enemy design's war crimes. I'm gonna need you to take this literally. In the late game, the Court of Owls gain the ability to get back up after you kill them. With full health, you cannot interrupt it. You fight them, they self-res, then you fight them again. And it's only the strongest court members who had the most health to begin with that can do this. The Gladiator Talon's basic health bar could wrap around the fucking planet before they got another one. So if the fight hadn't grown dull yet, this is a 100% money back guarantee. Why? It's baffling. The Court of Owls is a disaster, so enemy design is decidedly mid.
Now, I can see where fighting the Talons with Red Hood is very challenging. I do understand. Gotham Knights doesn't hold your hand. If you want to do anything for the most part in this game, you need to basically learn how to do setups. You need to learn how enemy NPCs behave. You need to learn their affinities, and you need to learn things that they're actually susceptible. Some of them you're told, like the YouTuber was told that you can use charge ranged attacks, or you can use area of effect attacks or abilities to be able to break the guard of the Talons, and they just pretty much didn't see that. I felt for them because I didn't even see that in the first place. It wasn't until I started fighting the Talons, which they frustrated me at first, then I started to experiment and say, you know what, what's up with these enemy classes, man? And one thing about game design mechanics is developers don't usually, and I'll say don't usually, develop enemies for you to not be able to fight or deal with. They always have a skill ceiling that they're looking for. The Court of Owls and the League of Assassins admittedly have the higher skill ceiling in the game. So you actually do have to do a lot more. You kind of have to prepare when you're going to go deal with these guys. You kind of have to put on the right gear, use the right setups, even maybe sometimes change characters if you don't want to deal with them. Like me, the worst character to fight them with in my mind is literally Red Hood followed by Batgirl. I can't seem to do much with those two, but Batgirl mains will be laughing at me in the comment section and saying, you need to get good, bro. And I get it. That's how Gotham Knights is. You got to get good. The game's not going to hold your hand. It's not going to give you a bunch of free gadgets. You got to get out there and you got to get the job done. Another thing too is, if you think about how a lot of folk have approached a game like this, you know, people talk about when the gear system is in place, all you got to do is put on the new gear with the highest power. But that's actually a big lie more than anything else. Even this YouTuber said something about the gear in the beginning of his video. He said, admittedly, the gear system works. Even though he thought it was uninteresting and it looked like it wasn't going to make any difference, he realized that the gear system makes a difference. But here's the problem. He only explained that the power level is what you just need to put on and it will make you start feeling stronger. But he didn't pay attention to the fact that these little gear items are able to change the game. The level of the gear, it matters a little bit, but the attributes of the gear is what matters the most, especially when you're fighting different enemy factions and dealing with them. Because sometimes you're not going to get a specific gear item for a while because it's all RNG. So you may have to use something from a lower level to work and do the job. So you may have to adjust the way you set up your gear. You may have to adjust what you're using as your projectile weapon. Maybe that might be some kind of a status effect, or you have, you know, different status effect projectile weapons or melee weapons that you can use for different enemy classes. These are the things that you pay attention to, because a level 55 legendary item or whatever is good and, you know, is in my opinion very good actually, but many people crave the level 61, and if you don't find a level 61 on time and you're just using the level 55, by the time you get the level 61 you might not necessarily feel too much of the difference, because the level 55 one is going to be doing the job if you know how to spec well and you're using it for the right enemy class. It's an RPG, it's just the way things are. But the beauty in all of this is that we in the community can talk about a video game in a fitting way, especially when there's noise around the internet. Many of you who are paying attention, you saw that just recently, the cinematic director Wilson Mew came out and did pretty much kind of an exposition of the opening scene of Gotham Knights. Can you imagine that? And these people on the internet are saying that, oh, the developers have abandoned the game, when that's not necessarily the case. You didn't ask the developers if they abandoned the game. Warner Brothers didn't call you to ask or tell you if they abandoned the game. That's just something that a lot of people have just made up. I would recommend that we hold our horses, see how things play out, especially now the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been faded into I don't know where for the meantime. Maybe Warner Brothers might say for now, maybe continue to push a little bit more about Gotham Knights out there, and they will sponsor the project so that the game can get another facelift. Because think about this, if they expand this game, it will pretty much pull the base game out to more people's, face and eyes, and people who already enjoy the game will benefit from the fact that more content is going to come. We don't know if more content is going to come. I'm just saying that, this might be a good incentive to actually market their next game, because that's also something that's very important to them. I'm looking forward to playing Warner Bros. Montreal's next game. I'm quite excited, actually, because to me, I think this game was a very good starter kit in regard to how they were going to, pretty much position themselves in the market. And if they want to be the kings of RPG superhero games, then man, they just got to continue to go for it, deepen the systems and made Gotham Knights good in the eyes of people who actually were able to explore, play it, and enjoy it, not from people who came out there just throwing out word salads together and just talking and in reality didn't necessarily pay a lot of attention, but instead listen to the people who actually got to play the game at a much more deeper level. These are your fans. This is your fan base. The general audience may not like something like this overall, and I think we've seen it, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't create a niche for the audience that actually does like it. This is what Dark Souls did before everybody came around in Elden Ring. People had ignored Dark Souls forever, and people still ignored Elden Ring, even though it still had some differences from Dark Souls and so on and so forth. But that's basically my video for now. Thanks for watching. Peace out.